Hello, my name is Rebecca Heath, and I'm going to be your instructor for PNUR 154, Introduction to MedSurg or Medical Surgical Nursing. Excited to work with you guys this next term. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and walk you through a couple things, or a few things, probably more than a couple, that I want you guys to know. So first, once I've published this, you will see this course here, PNUR 154. Fall 25 is F25, MedSurg 1. So you're going to go ahead and click on this class. Now, if you're new to Canvas, I do have some things to help you with that. First, if you're brand new to Canvas, you're like, what am I doing? Just click on the modules over here and it will take you to the modules that they have. So if you're new to Canvas, this is going to be a great place for you to start just to look through Canvas general orientation, how to look at your dashboard and such. But I'm going to go back to the home page. So you've got a couple of things on here, a welcome message from me. I'm excited with MedSurg 1. We talk about a lot of really interesting things with the care of older adults and how that's uniquely special. You guys will have classes coming up that will be care of pediatric populations as well. We'll get into some musculoskeletal fluid and electrolyte, pain, a bunch of other interesting things. Some things that I want you guys to know, well, of course, you can click on these links that go to the modules, but you're going to have an individual project due kind of right off the bat on week 2. So make sure that you kind of keep track of some of these dates because week 3, we're going to have test number 2. Week 6, or pardon me, week 3 is test number 1. Week 6 is test number 2. You're going to have a group project that will be due 11/24, and then our final test is going to be on 12/1. So kind of a nice thing to have and know. Some things that it can be kind of helpful to students. I've put the course schedule here where you can look at it. It goes through week by week what our topics are, kind of our general activities, your readings, and that's going to be through FA Davis that I'll explain in a little bit. PSLO is our program, student learning outcomes, and CSLO is our course student learning outcomes. And so it's just kind of how everything is organized, lets you know a little bit more, how and why. And then we also have the syllabus. Now I'm going to go over the syllabus in class with everybody, but I want you to know just a few things that I think are important for all the students to know. Um, we haven't set up our full office schedules yet, so I will update this with when I have office hours so you guys know. Some of the big things, I went over the week by week topics here. But I want you guys to know that there's going to be weekly quizzes. They are used to help you get ready for class. One of the things I didn't say already is that as a program, we are a flipped classroom, meaning we expect you to, if we're going to talk about pain and alternative therapies, we expect you to do the reading and the homework and everything that's involved in that topic before you come to class. That way, you're ready. You understand the lecture more. You're able to participate in the group and class discussions. So you don't come to class and then do the readings and then do the assignments. You do it all beforehand. That being said, each weekly quiz, I want you to do it before you come to class. Now, the quizzes are worth 5% of your grade. What I've decided to do is that I will reset the quizzes each week and you will have another chance to take the quiz after you've heard the lecture. So I do kind of give a little bit of a reset and help you. There's 2 unit tests and 1 final exam, like I mentioned earlier. Percentile breakdown, your individual project is worth 5% of your grade. Your support class, which we'll talk more about the first week of school, is worth 5%. Your attendance, just coming to school, is worth 5%. And I'll talk about how we track that. Weekly quizzes are 5%. Your group project you're going to do with other students is worth 10. Your overall assignments that you have week to week, your case studies, your all these other assignments are going to be worth 20% of your grade. Your final is worth 20% of your grade, and then your tests combine to be 30% of your grade. So that's kind of how the grade breaks down. Every nursing program class, students have to have an 80% or 3.0 to pass the class and progress in the quarter. A couple of policies and procedures I want you guys to know. Late work, and this is for the nursing program overall. If you are going to be late submitting any assignment, you need to notify the instructor. Well, how do you do that? You need to write, so click on Canvas. When you're going to submit that assignment, there's a comment box. Just comment at that assignment, say, hey, need extension. Well, something to let us as instructors know that you're going to be late submitting that assignment. Do not email us. Do not send us a Canvas message. Those are very difficult to track for individual students and which assignment you're talking about. If you comment on Canvas on the specific assignment, we know exactly which student is asking for an extension on the specific assignment. And you want to make sure you guys know you only have 2 extra days to submit that assignment before you get a 0% on it. If the assignment was due, the example of it is if it was due at 1500 or 3 o'clock on Monday, if you turn it in even just a minute or two late, as long as you've asked for an extension, to 1500 on Tuesday, you get a 10% deduction. The next 24 hours get a 20% deduction, and anything after that, you do get a 0. I generally don't offer extra credit on this class, but I'll let you know if anything becomes available. You're gonna need to have a computer. Doo, doo, doo. And I think that's about all I really wanted to point out. We'll get into more of it when we go to our first day of class. So let's look a little bit into our modules. One thing you guys are going to have to do is purchase your F.A. Davis textbooks. If you haven't purchased them already, there's an easy how to purchase them right here. And you're going to use these in the progression of the program, but specifically MedSurg, we are very heavily used on F.A. Davis. So you can click here on the option 1 required package, and it will take you to the F.A. Davis site with all of the book packages that you need. It'll come up and you can check out. You can see that purchasing it as a block through the website does give you a 20% discount. I will note that there's another option too. This also includes the concept mapping book. If you don't want to purchase that, don't click here. Don't like clicking at this one also takes you to a whole nother block of books. You don't need both. You could also just go to F.A. Davis and enter this is the code for the books that you need. And then you have a promo code that's on here. I don't think it has it on here. Uh, so F.A. Davis, you're going to have to create your account. I'd like you all to get signed up by 9/22 so that you're ready, you're enrolled, you can even start working on assignments because you're going to have assignments due pretty quickly in the term. So there is an orientation to MedSurg F.A. Davis if you want to. I'm not going to play that. What I do want you guys to see though is once you purchase your F.A. Davis book, you're going to have something that will look similar to this. Well, it will say, hey, it's the LPN full curriculum 25-27. You need to then go to view titles. And I am, just so you know, I am on Davis Advantage. If you go to just fadavis.com, your products, you need to click on either all of your titles, something, but you do need to click on this F.A. Davis Advantage button to get to Davis Advantage. That's where we have a lot of our online coursework for MedSurg specifically. So once you're here in Davis Advantage, you want to click on all titles, and then we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom where we see Understanding Medical Surgical Nursing. You're going to launch that. And when you launch that, you're going to see a class that you're in, except for you guys aren't in a class. So if we go back over here and I'm going to go to modules, one of your first assignments is to join our F.A. Davis MedSurg class. What you will do is you will go to this page here and you will take this code and copy it And then you will put it in here and search for a class. It won't work for me because I'm the instructor, I made the class. Once you have entered that class, it will show up and it will look something like this, MedSurg 1, Fall 25. Hey, so once you have that, I'm going to click on a student preview so you can kind of see what it will look like. You're going to have all these assignments and you're like, what the heck? Well, I don't put them on a certain time, like it's going to have like the due date as 9/11. 1929, right? They are not due on that time. I don't want you to pay attention to these due dates. I want you to pay attention to the due dates that are in your modules in Canvas. Like it will say on, here we go. Week 1 has quizzing, critical thinking, clinical judgment. We're going to do that in class together, but you can see it's September 29th. Week 2, it's going to have edge quizzing, gerontology, death and dying, October 6th. When we go in, you can find, I want you to look to see what's due and then find those assignments. Please do not work ahead and, say, hey, let me go check out this fluid and electrolyte imbalances one now. I just want to see what that's about because actually that kind of locks in what your grade is, whatever you did. So if you haven't done the reading, you haven't kind of studied for it and you did it, your grade is locked in. So wait until these assignments are due in Canvas before you start working on them. The nice thing is that, if when you are working on fluid and electrolyte, it says, hey, chapter 6, that's what chapter it's on. You can just click on the ebook here and it will bring you to the electronic version of the book. So you can look up answers, kind of have the resource right there. It's really nice. Um, while it gets up here, I do want to show you a couple things. This is the ebook. It's really helpful. One of the things I want you guys to do, well, let's go to one of the chapters we're actually going to be looking at the beginning. Okay, so chapter 1, critical thinking, clinical judgment, and the nursing process. Every chapter is going to have key terms. I want you guys to look at those key terms, and if you don't understand them, find the answers to them, right? If you're like, what does vigilance mean? What is that? What is it talking about? Well, I want you to look through the chapter, find it. One thing, if you're like, how do I've read it, I don't know where it's at. Just so if you all aren't super tech savvy, you can on your keyboard hold down the control button and then hit F, and you're going to have this little dialog box that opens. It's your control for finding things. So I'm going to type in vigilance, Vigilance, and it says up here, there's 1 of 4. So this is the first one. And then over here, I can see where it's also talked about. So here it's going to say, hey, one of our learning outcomes is defining vigilance, which that's right under chapter concepts. When you guys read through these chapters, I want you to look through the terms, but also the outcomes. Say, what do I need to know by looking through this chapter? Then we're going to scroll down and you can see over here we have highlighted vigilance, right? So the state of awareness that enables you to anticipate problems is called vigilance. Hey, we just figured out what vigilance is. Look, you guys are already out of schedule doing your homework. Okay, so that's something that's very nice. I also want you guys to make sure on each of your chapters that you read, look at these key points. This is a really great tool when you're studying for tests, is look at those chapter concepts, the chapter, like the learning outcomes, and then the key points. If you know those, if you're familiar with, like, you understand what they're talking about, you probably understand the content. And then they have these exercises in here. Like here's a critical thinking exercise. It wants you to prioritize these. I totally recommend doing these in the chapters. They're very helpful for helping you understand content. And then you can go to the bottom and look at the answers to see how you're doing. Okay, going back to the Canvas course. Um, I think we talked about a lot of it. When you're looking through each module, I know a lot of students look just on their calendar to see when things are due, and everything is due about, the same. Um, the syllabus I put due a couple days after we start class just because I wanted you guys to have, some time to really look at it. There's also KWL, in-class assignment. This is how I track attendance. So what you guys do is there's a sheet here. Let's see if I can open it up. And This is a way for you to take notes, essentially. And in the beginning of every class, we're going to think about what the topic is. So for the first week, clinical judgment, critical thinking, and I want you guys to fill out the what I know portion. And so you won't do this ahead of time. You'll do this in class. Then you'll think about, man, what do I want to know about this? Maybe in the reading, I didn't quite understand this vigilance thing we're talking about. How do I use that in nursing? You write that down. It's just a few minutes of an exercise. And then after class, I say, flip the page over, do something else, include it in your notes. At the very end, I want you to take notes and kind of reflect on what did I learn today in class. It's a great way for you to kind of jumpstart your note-taking skills and help you remember what you have learned. I think that's about it. Each week, I also have a weekly resources page, and that's where you're going to be able to find your PowerPoints. If I've taught class before, sometimes I'll have recordings of previous lectures that you can watch. And for the reading, um, each week has a course overview or week overview. So week one, hey, it's all about critical thinking, clinical judgment, and nursing process. We've got class. I tell you what chapters I want you to read, and it also has the assignments that are listed in here as well. So no, if you can't remember what you're supposed to be reading, each week in the weekly overview will have it. All right, I think that's it. If you have any questions, just drop a comment in the announcement where you will find this video. And I look forward to seeing you all in class at the beginning of fall term. All right, take care.